today, can you send me your remembrance of who we sent to the emerging district leaders at Zone last year?
Yeah, I'll try and find that list.
That'd be great, because I think they're going to let us send 2 people to the virtual Zone Institute to the emerging district leaders part of it.
Good.
So I just want to make sure we don't double it up. But the information is out now about the virtual institute. We were going to be having an institute in San Diego in November, and that's all gone virtual now. So the registration information is out for that. It's $49 to attend virtually. Cherie and Lee will be doing their governor training virtually just before that. And so that's going to be a whole new experience that no one's ever tried. So anyway, thanks for that information, Robin.
You got 2 of them on the call here today.
Great.
Yeah.
Lee and Albin went.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Well, I'd like to make sure we get a couple of folks that go this year also, because I think it's a great program for them to be a part of.
Me too.
So we'll kind of work on that. I think you all are aware, and you can share this with your clubs, that our district assembly is going to be virtual this fall, October the 10th. We just couldn't work out everything with LCCC, with the virus and all the rest of it, so it will be virtual. But the great big news is that our keynote speaker is President Holger Knock. We took a page out of the book from the Cheyenne Rotary Club, who got him to come and speak to their club. He is going to be back with us as our keynote speaker for our district assembly. He will be with us at 10 o'clock in the morning for that event. And we're planning to run the event from 9 to about 11:30 is I think what we're talking about. But his time is very precise. He has to roll in and roll out at a specific time. So we'll want to make sure people are there to be able to hear him. But he's thrilled to be able to come back to District 5440, and we're thrilled to have him back. So Kelly's getting information out about that. I'd love to have 200 plus people on that call to hear him, because I think this is a major big deal to get a sitting Rotary International president to come to your district assembly. And I think, remind me, Cherie and Lee and Kelly, we're not charging for the district assembly, are we?
No, we're not.
Maybe. Yeah, I've got COVID brain, so I never remember what I've decided and what I haven't decided, or even what day it is. So anyway.
Chris, what was the date of that again?
October the 10th, Chuck.
Okay, I thought that's what you said. Thank you.
It's going to be from 9 to 11:30. What we're going to be wrapping around Holger being with us is a couple of breakout sessions. The topics will be on virtual fundraising and then some aspect of membership. And we'll flip them so that if you're at the first section of those breakouts, you could take a different one the second time. But we'll basically have 3 different things going that morning, and it won't go longer than 11:30, because we do understand that we get Zoom Fanny, and we can't stay focused that long in our little boxes. So anyway, there'll be more information coming out about that.
I do want to add to that I am asking for registration, even though there is no charge. That way I can send up a link to those that are registered.
Great.
We have a 300 person limit, and if we would get, I would like to make sure that the people who sign up get that link first.
Great.
Just in case we do have an overabundance of people wanting to attend, then I would have to put those other folks in a waiting room, basically, to come in if somebody drops off. So
Kelly, when are you going to send that out?
I'm going to actually send that out this morning.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's gone out to the AGs to start working on some stuff as well. And that went out earlier this week, but it will, that part of it will go out today.
Good.
So that's big news that's coming up on that front. We have also, the executive team is meeting, or the district governor line team, the 4 of us have been meeting on a regular basis, and we had a fantastic meeting last week to start talking about how to rethink and rebuild the visioning program. That there have been some clubs that have been asking for visioning, and we all sort of have been talking about how to refresh that program over the next little while. And so we had a fantastic meeting last Friday with the governor line, and is it John Daly, Cherie, from up in Five Trails? No.
No. Let me
John
look at his name.
Who?
I'll look at his name.
Yep. And Mark Holt and Les Glover from the Estes Valley Sunrise Club. And it was kind of a conceptual meeting, and Cherie is the point person on this whole effort. So Cherie, do you want to just do a little bit of a commercial about what's coming?
Sure. We are basically working with Mark and Leslie to develop a new way for the district to help clubs with strategic planning. So instead of having the visioning process and then nothing, we're hoping to make that a little bit more helpful. So I don't know how many of you are aware of how we used to do it, but there was a group of facilitators that would come around and help your club do like a strategic planning visioning session. So you would sit down and kind of come up with new ideas, things you wanted to keep, things you wanted to get rid of. And that was the dot exercise where everybody voted by a dot with all the things that they really liked and didn't like. And then at the end, the facilitator would say, okay, now let's lay out a plan for how you guys are going to help push this over the finish line and get a strategic plan out of this. And then most of the time that was it. And so what we found is that a lot of clubs ended up halfway through the strategic planning process, and then they got burned out, or they didn't have a very good point person in their club. And so they never really got a strategic plan. They just got some good ideas out of the visioning process, and that was about it. I'm not saying that nothing came out of it, because I think in every situation, the club did benefit from going through that process. It just didn't, in the end, lead to a strategic plan that the club was using regularly, that they were revisiting, and that was actually help guiding their club in a positive way. And so we think there's probably a better way to do it, but that's what we're going to have them help us with. So that's what they do for a living. And for those of you that were at the spring assembly, I think they did a fantastic job and gave us some really great ideas. And that they presented at the spring assembly is probably going to be the foundation of where they head with this new visioning and strategic planning process. And then the idea is that they're going to help us get a model in place. We're going to train facilitators, and then the district, and we'll have a committee that'll bring that out to the clubs just like they did before. So just stay tuned about what that is and what that's going to look like, because I think that's going to be exciting.
And I'm really excited that Cherie has taken the lead on that from our district governor team, because this will be something that I hope will be ready to roll in the next Rotary year, and then we can just build on it. And Cherie has a real passion for strategic planning, and this is a great year for people to be thinking about what do they want to be as a Rotary Club, where do they want to go, because we're all on a little bit of a pause and things are looking different, and we can reimagine who we are and kind of reframe ourselves into the world that we find ourselves. And so this is a great time for this initiative to be happening, and it's a great time for clubs to be going through this work together. So I'm really appreciative, Cherie, that you're taking the lead on this and really keeping us moving on this thing, because it's a great idea, and I think it'll be really beneficial. So we will continue to roll that out and keep you all informed as things start coming up and there are things to talk about. Lee Berry Nelson, as our district governor nominee, is also our district membership chair, and she is the point person that's working with the zone leadership for some specific strategic planning around initiatives for new clubs. And Lee, you want to just kind of do a quick commercial about the work you've done on that at this point?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So we've been asked to focus on creating some new clubs this year. Jarita and Vicky have been really adamant about the fact that they've looked at data, and what they see from other successful zones is that as you create new clubs, then your membership grows. Our line has talked about how to do this. I've looked at strategies, and at this point I'm looking at passport clubs for a number of reasons. Given the situation that we're in, I think that having some ability to meet, the way you need to, whether it's in person, via Zoom, or wherever you are, because a lot of people are also traveling at this point, and some have decided to move. And I still want to be able to bring all of those wonderful Rotarians into clubs that can make a difference here, not only for our district, but for Rotary. So I focused on looking at some opportunities for people who either have commonalities, whether they're educators or they just enjoy doing projects. Having passport clubs that do that. I've also been reaching out to my other DGNs in the zone and asking them about what their strategies are for growing Rotary in their district. And I've found some really interesting information about just creating other new clubs that focus on bringing alumni in, ethnic new clubs. So I'm looking at a lot of different options, and our goal here is to make sure that we bring people that have a passion for doing good in the world into Rotary, and that we do that in our district. So that's what I'm working on. I'm glad that all the assistant governors are here, because I also want to reach out to all of you and get you involved in this. Have you help me with the clubs in your area? Introduce me to the membership chairs, give me some ideas of what's going well for them, what they're struggling with, because once a quarter, I want to do a Zoom meeting. I'd like to involve you, but I'd also like to involve the membership chairs of the clubs that you support, as well as the presidents, so we can talk about what's working and what they've learned, what they're struggling with, so we can gather information and have the different clubs and the different assistant governors help and provide some best practices, because there's no point in letting the clubs just be out there on their own and wonder what to do. We've got some really great ideas, and we should all help each other.
Great. Lee, thank you. And thank you for taking the lead on that topic also. I know that you've got a real passion for it, but I think it's really helpful for you being plugged in where you are in the zone, and all of your colleagues to be able to bring those new ideas here. And I really appreciate you taking the lead on that. The other member of our team is past District Governor Barb Retter. She has got a lot going on in the zone. She's on vacation this week, so she's not able to join us, but she is the lead trainer for the governor-elect and governor nominee training at the zone level. And so she's doing a lot of work in how to build that training into a virtual experience. And we are going to be picking her brain on how to make pets a virtual experience, if that's what it comes down to. That topic has already come up in the planning sessions that we're already conducting on pets. Final decision has not yet been made, but I would not be surprised to certainly see some portion of that be virtual. So we will be learning a lot as we go forward as to how best to make that happen. Cherie, did you want to comment on that?
Sure. Actually, RI has mandated that we have to have a virtual component for pets this year. So whether we have an in-person one or not, we have to have a virtual. So we will be doing some virtual component. And the question is, are we going to have a live one as well? And if we do, then is it a hybrid where we're zooming into the actual sessions, or is it two completely separate models where you can either attend in person or you can do the Zoom? So that's kind of the decision that still needs to be made, but there will be a virtual option. We know that for sure.
And the 6 districts that are part of High Country Pets are meeting on a regular basis and having quite in-depth discussions about all of this. And of course, it's Cherie's decision making this year as the district governor-elect with her colleagues. She's the decision maker to try to put all that together. And again, we are all learning in a new world how to best make this happen and still be effective in what we need to get done. So stay tuned for that. As that fully matures, that information will be coming out, and we'll be sharing it with folks. Chuck, did you want to speak at all about what's going on with the foundation from your perspective as the DRFC?
Well, I can tell you one of the things that I've asked Mike Torme for some help trying to find somebody. I've got a couple of people that have volunteered to work on major gifts for the district, but I really would like to find a past district governor to chair that group, somebody that's had some experience, because the 2 people that volunteered are relatively new Rotarians. I haven't got anything back. A little disappointed. I know I hear all the time the past district governors are looking to be involved. But when you ask for help, you don't get a lot of response. So I'm going to work on that. We're trying to replace Mary McCambridge in that position. But I've got a couple of good young energetic Rotarians that want to jump in and learn that and help in that endeavor.
Great. Everything going okay, Chuck, from your perspective as far as grants?
Yeah, grants are going good. You know, we put in the newsletter the changes to grants this year. I hope everybody saw that. If they didn't, they should go look at it. I think the flow is going good. We've got, you know, a lot of requests in there. District grants are going well. Right now, giving is down, but I would expect that in this environment. We need to find a way to boost that for the annual fund, or we're going to be in trouble 3 years from now. So we're going to be working on that.
Great. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you for your service in doing that too. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We've got a new chair of our PR committee, public image committee, that Cherie has been working with. Do you want to just mention what your conversation has been with her, Cherie?
Sure. You guys might know her. Her name is Jackie Dorothy. For a long time, she did PR and public image awareness for Wind River Casino in Riverton. She doesn't work for the casino anymore. So she's doing freelance business in Thermopolis. So I am really excited that she has agreed to help us with ours. I think she has some fantastic ideas about how to get our name out on things like social media, which we've never really excelled at. Website updates that are kind of desperately needed. Things like the newsletter probably need to be revamped. And so I think she's on the right track, and she's putting together a proposal for us to see how much that's going to cost. And that's kind of the starting place that we're at right now. So
great. And she's the past president of the Riverton Club. Also, she was president last year.
Yep.
So really excited to have Jackie being plugged into this process now, and looking forward to seeing what she comes up with on her proposal, which is really exciting. The other thing, I've got past District Governor Ken Small here. We are now, I think the announcement has gone out, looking for our next district governor for 22-23. Is that the right years?
Correct.
And Ken Small, you want to bring us up to date on that process?
Well, Kelly has released 2 different shots of the announcement. There's some interest out there. The question has been raised whether a club can nominate 2 candidates. I'm not sure what the answer is going to be on that one, but we'll see. But to the PDGs and everybody else on this call, I ask you to encourage the good past presidents, and you have to be a past president with a complete term, to consider whether they want to be a district governor. And if so, they have to start by going to their club and getting an affidavit from their club, which is on the website, district website, that the club will support the person in their run to be the district governor.
Great.
It's a great time for transitions in many ways, and new thoughts and new ideas are obviously going to be very important in the next 10 years.
You bet. And there's a fantastic group of people that you get to work with. So it is a very rewarding experience. And I think some of the ways in which we're rethinking the job of district governor starting this year are really some good ideas, and I hope we'll carry those forward. But we will be looking forward, Ken, to whoever you are able to come up with the work that you're doing. Albin's here. He's one of our past president members of that committee. And also Ann Bedient from the Fort Collins Breakfast Club is the new past president member of that selection committee.
Who is it? I don't know it, Chris. Who is it?
Ann Bedient from the Fort Collins Breakfast Club. She agreed to be on the committee with you all, Ken. So that
Okay, thank you.
You should have a full committee now to go whenever you all are ready.
Well, we still need a PDG.
Okay, very good. But
Yeah, you and I can talk about that a little bit later. But
that sounds good. Hello there, past District Governor Mike Tormey. I see your smiling face. You're muted. You're still muted, Mike. That's all right. You can, when you get unmuted, say hello. There you go.
Hello. I was just on another Zoom call in a different format, so I had to find the right button.
That's all right. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Just to answer Chuck's question, I do have a feeler out to one PDG for the major gifts. I have not heard back yet.
Very good. Very good. I wanted to let you all know, and I'd love you to get this word out wherever you can. I had a conversation with Beth Vandewey a couple days ago from Cowboy Country Youth Exchange, and she seems to be concerned that the word is out there that there's no youth exchange going forward. There's no students going out this fall, but they are preparing and planning for students to go out on the for 21-22, so next year. But this is the time when students need to be going through their application process and getting all their paperwork in place. So please, if you can, combat that erroneous information that there is not going to be youth exchange. They are planning for there to be youth exchange. And Brent, you're on that committee. Do you want to add anything to that and amplify it?
Well, I'm taking a pause this year because of this president. But yes, you're correct. The program is moving forward, and we're taking, I'm going to say we, never gets out of your blood.
Right.
We're taking applications this fall, and the review process will be just like normal with your club. So this is one we're to get on it. We got to have a full court press to get this going. We cannot let the exchange program collapse. Just cannot. Wednesday afternoon, evening, we had a club picnic, and we had our two return exchange students. That was our program, such as it was, and they got up and spoke about what they had done. They had their colors on, as I like to call them, and had interaction one-on-one with members as best we could with distancing, of course. They went over like gangbusters. And these kids it's so much fun and rewarding to listen to these students and see the quality of students that we send out and the quality of students that we bring in. And folks, these are our next leaders. So, we want all of your clubs to be sending kids out next year. Wouldn't it be great to have 40 go out for a change instead of roughly about 20 that we had in the past? Thank you.
You bet. Brent, thank you. And I promised Beth that I would try to get that word out, and we will try to continue to get that out so that people don't have the erroneous belief that there is nothing going on with youth exchange. They're taking this year to plan and get it going, and then they're going to be going forward with that. So anyway, get those words out there. I know that Rocky Mountain RILA's group has been meeting, and they've been doing a lot of planning between the two districts. They may wind up having to change locations for young RILA because they ran into some problems with the folks down in Larkspur, but they're still going forward and planning again to do RILA next summer. They won't be doing it this year, but they will plan to do it next year. So continue to watch. A lot of you probably have credit in the bank with them for students that you'd already paid for this year, and so you've already got the money ready for next year. But there may be some changes in making sure we get those students ready for that also. But that will be going forward, and I know that there's a lot of discussion going on, and the committee is very active. So we will keep you posted on that too, so that the clubs know that that's going on and it's not completely stopped. So I wanted you to be aware of that also. Let me think. What else was I going to say? Kelly, what have I forgotten about stuff that's going on currently?
I think you've covered it all.
Have I? I'm going to want to hear from some folks just to see what's going on in their communities, because I know we've got different experiences of the virus depending upon where you live, and different experiences of clubs. So, one thing I did want to say is we got a lot of duck races going on here in this district. So you can get on and get your ducks online. I've got ducks going in Casper, got ducks going in Loveland, and ducks going in Estes Park. So as district governor, I love being in duck races and whatever else you got going for fundraisers. So just let me know and let the other members of the governor line know, and we'd love to get in that. Lee Vera Nelson and I have got a little competition to see if any of us win anything in all of these duck races. She claims she's going to smoke me on all of them. So I wish you luck with that, because if you win all that money, Lee, I'm expecting big donations to the Rotary Foundation to make Chuck Rutenberg happy.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Chris, before you move on,
Yeah.
before you move on, can I say a couple of things?
Go for it, sir.
First of all, Mike Tormey, thank you for mentioning that. I couldn't find my cursor; it was on my other screen to thank you when you were talking. Second of all, I don't know how many of you follow our friend Alvin Shaw, who's on this call on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to Alvin for his raising awareness for veteran suicide and highlighting resources for people. If you're not following him, I would suggest you do. Alvin, as a veteran, thank you very much for everything you're doing there.
Good job, Albin. Good job.
Thanks, Jack.
You're always doing something great, Albin. I just love watching what you do. You're so active. It's amazing.
Could be in line for district governor, you know.
Oh, I don't know. Let me think. Let me think.
I'm on the selection committee. That
You've
would
heard that a couple
Okay.
times, haven't you?
Do it.
Alvin, you
Got
can
it.
always resign.
no. I stick with my commitments.
There we go. Yeah. Don't just wait a minute, Chuck. You know, it's all about timing, Chuck Rutenberg. You know that.
I do know that.
All
And
right. Let's kind of hear if we can from some folks around in the district. Robin, you want to let us know what you're seeing in Cheyenne?
Well, I have to admit that probably Brent's going to be the person to talk about the Cheyenne Noon Club. I have had a lot of time away from Cheyenne lately, being up in Rapid City helping parents. So
Yeah.
I've not been able to connect to be at a meeting for our other two clubs. I will say that the After Hours Club had an exciting speaker and had a representative from the help me out, Brent.
NAACP.
Yes, thank you. Letters evidently are not my strong point. It's evidently more numbers. But that they were really excited to do that, and it was a great opportunity for them to share that with our community. That club is also still organizing the food distribution that is leftover produce from the farmers market on Saturdays. So they are slowly but surely gathering the other two Rotary clubs, as well as other organizations in Cheyenne to help with that each day. So we'll just keep going.
Great. Thanks, Robin. Brent, you want to add anything from the Noon Club in Cheyenne?
Sure. We're progressing with our hybrid meetings. We've been doing that now since the 1st of July, and they are very popular.
Good.
We're the most we've had with the virtual and in-person numbers is north of 80 people. And we happen to have the governor speaking that day, so maybe that was the reason.
Yeah.
But that was always helpful. But we're just hearing good words about it. I've got some members talking to me that said that they travel and they really like the fact that they can tune in Lander or wherever they are and watch what we're doing. And we're getting a reputation of having very good Zoom meetings. That's good and bad. Now there's kind of the expectation that we're going to keep on doing it. So our production's really, I guess, known as being done very well. Rotary does things well, so that's what we're hearing. And I just mentioned our picnic that we had Wednesday. We've had those every year, and we had it out at the Wyoming Hereford Ranch. I don't know if some of you on the call have been out to that facility. Not really, really nice facility. We had a very good team that put together the program, and we followed our pathway to in-person meetings guidelines to set that up. It was all outdoors in the sense that we had an old sail barn that was open with air and so on. But we had somewhere around 70 to 80 people show up. We didn't quite get a number on it. And people really enjoyed being together again. And that's very important. I think it's a lesson we have to learn on this and figure out how to do it. We're really good comments. So far, Robert and I have got our fingers crossed and our toes crossed, so we're not going to have any incidents of infections show up with our members. So far, we haven't heard anything. Of course, it's still only a day out now, or 2 days out now. But I think hopefully it's going to be out. The other thing we did last month, or this month, I should say, is we had our first social. We hadn't had one since March. And that's another very popular thing that we've been doing. Popular in the sense there's a small group of people like to go to these things. Typically, we were going to a bar or a grill or something like that and having members show up. And it was also a good membership venue. You could potentially bring guests and, talk Rotary. So that's something to put in your pocket to think about too when you're talking with folks. But we had our first one last a week ago now, I guess it was. And we did it outside. We had a food truck that provided our food. We did that at our picnic too. Those food trucks are very popular. And Elva, since you're past military, remember we call them roach coaches, things like that. I don't know what you call them, but anyway, that's kind of another way we can do the food part of that, and it's real popular. So we're looking at ways to get people out and get our Rotarians out. The next thing we're going to do on the 29th, Saturday morning, with a Rotarian councilman, Laybourne's going to lead a bicycle trip on our greenway, and going to be looking at the historical pieces of it and different things we're doing. But another way to get our Rotarians out and about. So
Great.
That's a report from the Noon Club. We're trying to figure out ways to keep it live. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Brent. Really appreciate it. Albin, what's going on in Casper?
Well, Chuck's the veteran, not me. So we'll start with that, just clarity. Monday Rotary, our big club, is meeting in person again. That seems to be going really, really well. Five Trails has excellent attendance at their meetings. They've gone to, they're embracing the hybrid of during the in-person meeting having the Zoom. They're still working through some tech issues, but they're getting there. But they're doing every fourth meeting as Zoom only, as a way to keep costs down, because food costs were going up and they didn't want to raise the dues. So that's what they decided to do. Reveille's been meeting in person outside for a while. They've been doing really well with that. They've had great attendance with that. So overall, all of them are doing really well. Douglas is doing the same thing. They're doing a hybrid and they're getting decent attendance out of that too. So it seems like all the clubs are doing pretty well for attendance wise. Our Rotaract club has really struggled in the last year or so. And this just hasn't helped with it. Same with our satellite group out of Five Trails. So they were already kind of looser, and it seemed like it should have lent itself really well to going online, but they just didn't seem to just engage that well. So I'm hoping to be able to they have a 2-year running Rotaract president. He's coming in for a second year, and I'm hoping to get with him and maybe see if we can't get some energy going in that group again. But overall, everybody seems to be doing really well with that stuff. So.
Great. Thanks for the update.
And we got the big duck derby tomorrow. So, and
Good
ticket
deal.
sales sound like they did pretty well. So I know
I can't wait to get my grand prize. I'm just waiting for the phone call on my grand prize.
Me too.
Yeah, I know you are. Hey, John Marshall, how are things up in Scottsbluff, Nebraska?
Things are rolling. We're slowly getting back to normal. We are meeting in person. We're also doing the live Facebook of our meetings. So that's nice. Our attendance is growing and expanding week by week. So more and more people are feeling comfortable to come back. Here in September, we're going to start up our Rowdy Rotarian events, where we will substitute a Tuesday noon meeting for either a Tuesday evening or Thursday evening meeting at either one of our breweries or a local mom and pop shop that's owned by a Rotarian, just to kind of break more of the social ice amongst members and change things up a little bit. And everyone's looking forward to that, to more of a casual event. Well, we won't necessarily have a presenter, but it's just more or less getting back together again and trying to extend out our availability to other members who are just not wanting to go to certain areas, but want to still see everybody and keep involved. We're also volunteering at our local Monument Marathon, which is in September. Well, we are in charge of the food line at the end of the race. We've got a lot of volunteers that love doing that, and everyone enjoys it and enjoys seeing the runners come through in the finish line. So Rotary is the first tent, and obviously the most important tent, with the food, the pizza, and the beer and everything. So everyone enjoys coming to the Rotary tent for that.
Great.
It was a very pleasant surprise to find them at the finish line last year.
Well, I'm glad things are going well for you all up in Scottsbluff Gearing, John. That's great news.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate hearing that. Hey, Jim Moylan, tell us about Steamboat. You're muted, sir. There you go.
Mute. Well, to do it quickly, I have not heard a word from the morning club.
Okay.
After reaching out to them several times. The Craig Club is doing fine. The Noon Club is meeting outside at Rex's, which is in the Holiday Inn. There's a big patio in the back, and we've had since August 1st, the first meeting in August, and through September, we'll be meeting at Rex's on the patio in the back, and we've had about 40 to 45 people attending in person, plus 5 to 8 people on Zoom. And last Saturday, 10, 12 of us were monitors at the farmers market, walking around telling people to keep their masks on and so on. And we got some very nice response from the farmers market. It was called Main Street Steamboat that put on the farmers market, thanking us for our service in that respect. And that was a very successful day last Saturday.
Wonderful.
So the club, the Noon Club, is very active. Greg's doing okay, and I can't tell you what's going on with the Morning Club.
Well, great. Thank you, Jim, for your service as AG up there. Continue to send our best wishes. I'm looking forward to getting to visit with those clubs. I got that was scheduled for the Noon Club and was still waiting on scheduling the other two, but I certainly am glad things are going well for you guys up there.
Very good. Yes, thank you.
Good deal. Great. Mike Tormey, anything you'd like to share, sir?
Self unmuted. That was a good start. I'm probably the most remote Rotarian of 5440 since I live in Grand Junction. The one thing I would just offer is that I have been in airplanes and in airports at least twice a week since the 1st of March. And then aside from the fact that the airplanes are filling up again, there has been no indication that the COVID has really affected healthy people. It's my opinion, that is, that if you don't have any comorbidity issues and you're careful, you can do just fine in this society.
Great. Thanks for that, Mike. It's good to see you.
Good to be seen.
Colin, tell us about Northern Wyoming.
Well, Northern Wyoming is getting smoky up here now, but I visited the Ranchester-Dayton Club on Monday. They had their annual picnic, and you past district governors out there probably remember what a great feed that is with their prime rib and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was more of a social event than a meeting, but I was fortunate enough to be invited. They're doing fairly well. They've had to lose some fundraising opportunities they normally have, but they are going to hold their annual flea market next month, and they generally do fairly well with that. As for Buffalo, I'm kind of like, I really don't know what's going on down there. I can't even get much of an answer, but I will be there a week from Monday with Barb for her annual visit. So hopefully I can pick up a little more and maybe even find a real name for a president-elect, because this is the current president's last of 2 years.
Right.
Sheridan seems to be doing fine. They're meeting in person with a Zoom option if people want it. Yesterday there was a little glitch. Everybody showed up for the meeting, and the Holiday Inn had given all the rooms away to a bunch of agricultural people that were meeting about live auctions. So they basically canceled the meeting, and a few of us went for a social hour at an Irish pub nearby.
Okay.
But they're doing fairly well, and they're about to finish their centennial project of a new entry sign into Sheridan from the north.
Very nice.
And
Good
other
deal.
than that, we move along.
Good. It was good to hear from you. Thank you. Past District Governor Ken Small, have you got anything you'd like to add, sir, from Jackson?
Other than Mike Tormey doesn't seem to be in a cloud of smoke, but I can sure guarantee you there's a pile of smoke coming up from your part of the world. So stay safe down there, Mike.
Oh, Rotarians love to share, Ken.
No, I think we're doing
the fire
we're doing
here in
well
Grand
up here.
Junction is huge.
Yeah, I bet.
Set the record for the largest fire in the history of Colorado.
Has it gotten bigger than the Hayman fire now, Mike?
Yes, it's over 185,000 acres as of yesterday.
Wow. And no
That's a
end in
lot.
sight.
Yep. As far as Jackson, and Stu can add words up here, but the Jackson Club is Zoom about 2/3 of the time, and we meet under a circus tent outside about once every 3 to 4 weeks. It's a great venue. It's worked out very well. The programs have been very good. The Breakfast Club and Supper Club are active. So basically Rotary up here is still trudging along, even though it's got all the usual constraints. We are the hot spot in Wyoming as far as the COVID, which is an issue. But
Yeah.
As Mike pointed out, healthy people that practice proper things do pretty well. We're surviving.
Very good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. PDG Stu, you want to add anything about Jackson Hole or Wichita?
I would just add to what Ken's saying. My concern remains that attendance at these meetings outside is not what I would like to think from a club of 140. I don't think we've ever gotten over 40. And I'm concerned about those members who have not attended and not attended on a Zoom. So I know I've conveyed that to our past president, membership chair, and he's working on ideas. And I think that's where he could certainly have some feedback with Lee, and it would certainly be helpful, I think. I know when I think of Chuck and the Rotary Foundation, I did that for the last several years and stepped back at the end of June. I'm not even sure we've replaced and put someone in that position because I still continue to send checks on to the Rotary Foundation from club members who've taken that out of their membership dues, and it's been almost nil since July 1st. These are concerns, and this is what COVID has brought to us. But then Jackson is unusual. Everybody's busy in the summer, so busy. And I think this summer in particular, with the invasion, so to speak, of the tourists, everybody's slammed. It's crazy. The numbers of people in the camping world at all the national park forest camps, and now we have fire restrictions in place. It's finding people to serve and provide food for the various folks. There's a big question going on with city council as far as food trucks and whether or not they're to be accepted. The restaurants are opposed, and you can imagine that's an issue. But Scott Daly can certainly address the individual clubs and how they're doing. But as far as Rotary Club of Jackson Hole, I am concerned about our future attendance, how that will affect our membership.
Great.
So, and then I speak of Wichita, Kansas. I am attending, seems like half the year back there. They're back to in-person meetings at the East Wichita Rotary. And then they still do a Zoom. There were only 4 of us on last week, but they still do Zoom. And one of the programs I had there that last week was the individual members. They had 4 individual members who came forth and made a presentation about their businesses and how COVID has affected them and what changes they've had to implement as a result. So it's very interesting, very informative. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Stu. Appreciate those words. Scott, you wanna finish up our report from Jackson?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that what the Noon Club is doing, because I have no communication with their leadership. So I'm glad to know that at least they're doing something. The Breakfast Club, I've had a little bit of communication with them. One of the issues is that their club president, Melissa Weber, she was a sergeant in the local police, and the police chief retired, so now she's the acting chief. So I have a feeling she's kind of busy at this point, particularly since it's the height of tourist season and so on and so forth. I was honored to speak to the our friends over in Teton Valley at one of their club meetings. They asked me to talk via Zoom, and so I was able to interact with them, and they're meeting in person, and they had me Zoom into their meeting, and so I was happy to see that they're still involved. And our supper club is, as I mentioned earlier, for those of you that were part of that conversation, we've been meeting in person now for a couple of months, but we still do a Zoom meeting because of some members that we have. A member that got a liver transplant last year, so he's high on all the lists of comorbidities, so he's happy to be able to attend via Zoom, and we have other members that are traveling. So one thing I did want to mention is since I'm a geek, I've been experimenting with various inexpensive methods of using cheap cameras you can buy off Amazon, basically, primarily for a hybrid meeting. I've noticed that sometimes when I've been attending Zoom meetings at other clubs, it's difficult because a laptop doesn't necessarily always give you the best opportunity to share within the meeting. So I'm still doing some work on that, and if I come up with anything that's cheap and works well, I'll be sure to let everybody know, because it might be able to a way to enhance, particularly I think in the hybrid meeting situations.
Great.
Hey, Scott, this is Chuck. I think it's important if we can figure that out to share that with all the clubs, because if we can continue doing hybrid meetings, even beyond the pandemic, I think we'll pick up more members.
Yeah, I would agree. And in fact, you know, one of the biggest things we've found, and Lee, I want to thank you very much. Lee gave a Zoom talk to our club about Shelter Box and the opportunities that having Zoom meetings, even if you're having in-person meetings and have speakers via Zoom, I think it's going to just make things so much better and open up the Rotary world so much more, such as President Holger talking to us at our district assembly.
Yep. Great. Thank you for your service, Scott. Really appreciate the work you're doing up there and the work you're doing with technology. We appreciate that expertise. Let's move on to Estes Park. Let's start with Janet from Longs Peak. Hi, Janet.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity. As you know, we're a pretty small group and we've been meeting. We have been continuing to do, we started socials this month and are going to plan to continue. We're challenged with meeting space. Where we had met at Crossroads is now an office. And so one of the churches has made their area available, but it's fairly restrictive. The group really liked be able to share snacks with each other. So we are going to homes because we can do that. We can accommodate that easily. So we'll be doing that. The group is quiet, much like the influx of people here is just insane. And we have therefore flee the town because they don't want the germs that all of the other states are bringing to us. And others are busy with family commitments, service projects, just sort of waiting until some of the service are coming up. We're going to do sort of a garage, and then you know, we support the Bright Christmas program here in town. So
great,
healthy. A couple people have chose to have their surgeries done now, so we're all okay.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to getting to come up and visit with you guys, Janet. I'll reach out to you this week and we'll get that worked out.
Okay, sounds good.
Karen Nicholson from the Estes Valley Sunrise Club. You want to let us know how you all are doing? You're muted.
I got it. There we go. We've got Barb coming up in September. We're looking forward to that visit. We had a social at the marina a couple of weeks ago. Mike, we were hoping to kind of do a pass the gavel, but Mike is home but still recovering, so we'll have to postpone that a little bit. But we're glad that he's home. We're at about a third of our membership in terms of in-person attendance, and then we get anywhere between 5 and 10 on Zoom. So we continue to do hybrid meetings because we do have members who are not going to be coming in person. And so we want to be able to continue to accommodate that as much as possible. Big thanks to Lee. We had a shelter box presentation. She came up for that, but Brittany zoomed in amazingly from a mountaintop on the Peak sponsorship. And so we had a fantastic presentation by both of them actually regarding shelter box, and our club ended up sponsoring a Peak. So we were really happy to be able to do that. And then we had somebody chime in, and it looks like we're going to be sponsoring too. Oh. And so we've got, you mentioned the Noon Club duck race. We have not decided how we want to proceed in terms of fundraising, given the fact that we have canceled our 2 fundraisers in September for this year. But we are enthusiastically looking forward to next year and getting those save the dates out for our Hallmark fundraisers in Autumn Gold and the Arts and Crafts Festival next year.
Great. Good news. Thanks, Karen.
You bet.
Kathy Grossbeck, the Assistant Governor for Estes Park. You want to add something?
Yes, I'm unmuted. I figured out how to do it. It's great to hear from Karen and from Janet from Estes Park. So since I belong to the Noon Club, I'll maybe report on that. Of course, they're doing hybrid meetings, and there's a greater participation through Zoom than in person, which I think is good. And of course, the big news is the duck race that's coming up September 19th. It's about the only event left in town that they are going to have, and but it's virtual. Actually, it's going to be on television. We have a local TV station, EPTV. So it's going to be a 30-minute event and include some testimonials from people that have been involved for the 32 years of it. You know, it's a pretty famous event in our town, and even a global pandemic isn't going to stop it. The only difference this year, though, is our ducks are going to be little paper cutouts of ducks, and they're going to be rolling around in a barrel instead of swimming in the river. And they're calling it a duck pluck. You know, leave it to our duck race committee to never want to give up the use of, you know, cute little names for everything. And so there will be a duck pluck of the winners. So that piece of it will still be in place. And then the other kind of new novel twist to the duck race this year is all the money that was saved by not having the event is being used to actually purchase gift cards, and they're called duck bucks, of course, from merchants. So it's kind of a reverse thing. Instead of merchants donating prizes, we use the money saved from not having the event to purchase prizes. So all the elements are still there, except, of course, for all the fun and excitement and cheers of the 7,000 ducks rolling in on the river, you know. Yep. Which after, you know, this long, I mean, it is becoming a cult event because people just cheer those ducks on because they know their duck is in there somewhere. So that's kind of the thing. And, you know, I must say, I think our club deciding to continue with the duck race has kind of given us a good spirit about still working together and doing good for the community. I mean, everybody's feeling that. So, and you know what? One last little thing. There's actually, we gained a new member right before the COVID shutdown kind of stuff started happening. She's a retired attorney here, and she got involved with the duck race right off the bat. And I've not met her, but she's called me. I'm a past big duck, so she's called me to ask me some questions about things, and we've gotten acquainted over the telephone. And you know, when you think about most good relationships are built in person, she and I have this wonderful relationship. What we do is we watch the COVID numbers on the Larimer County site, and we comment back to each other because, you know, our town only had 4 cases for the longest time until tourist season opened. Now we have 36. And there was an article in the paper this week that said actually we have a drive-through testing over at the Ridgeline Hotel over there at the Timberline Medical Center. They have a drive-through COVID testing. We actually have twice the number of cases. They've tested almost 900 people through there, and 30 of them, 36 I think, tested positive, but they aren't listed here in our town because they don't live here. You know, they're just visiting.
Right.
So, yeah, COVID seems to be, you know, really, really hot here. And so I think we just kind of keep trying to stay in touch with one another one way or another and not worry about, you know, thinking, gosh, when are we all going to meet again? Let's just get through this.
Yeah.
And we're, you know, and through the duck race and just people reaching out to their good friends, you know, I think we're hanging through okay.
Good. Well, thank you for everything you're doing up there, and keep encouraging the clubs, Kathy. And I'm, like I said, I'm looking forward to getting that call about my winning duck.
Well, you know, if any of you do, I'll be so happy for all of you. And just goes to show, you know, you just never know when your luck's going to come through. So
that's right. That's great. Dale Cottom, Southwestern Wyoming Assistant Governor. How are things with you?
Going well. Going well. Thank you very much. It's been interesting to see how things have developed. We safely got past the window of time when we thought we might have an increase in COVID following our state fair and some other activities, or I'm sorry, our county fair and some other activities. So we're doing good, knock on wood. Our local club in Star Valley has gone to, or has been conducting, virtual meetings. We don't have a date when we would have an in-person option or reinitiate those, but I'll keep you updated on that.
Great.
Our new president in the Star Valley Club conducted some surveys, some online surveys, very useful, very helpful, got a lot of good information about what our members would like to see and do and change and such. And so we just went over those results in our last meeting, and that was very informative. That club may go to twice monthly meetings, where one meeting is with the student of the month that we eventually award a scholarship to the top candidate, and then the other meeting would be something else. Struggling a little with Rock Springs. I happen to be in Rock Springs at the moment. I'm here taking our son back to college, and I've reached out to Clint Eddy, their new president, probably a half dozen times, trying to arrange for your virtual visit, District Governor, and just not getting any response. So I've offered to meet him in person today. I'm here all day, and so hopefully that'll materialize, and we'll get some progress there. But haven't had any response there yet. So I'll keep trying.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate everything you're doing up there. Well, I want to respect everybody's time. We've been on about an hour. Tomorrow we will have coffee with the district governor at 9 o'clock. That's an informal drop-in, just chat. We've been getting a lot of fun people come in and just visit for a little while, and we'll be done by 10:30. So if you know anybody that would enjoy doing that, please invite them to do that. We will be doing this leadership call every month through this year. So Kelly has already sent out the schedule with the link. So in a month, we'll be getting back together. I really appreciate you all taking time. I think it's great for us to hear the good stories that are going on in our district and the work that's going on, because clubs they're tackling this thing and they're making good things happen. So really appreciate you all spending some time with us, sharing your information. It's great. When we get off this call, Cherie, would you stay on? Lee, would you stay on? And Chuck, would you stay on? We have a finance thing we need to talk about. And since you're the director, you're the head of the finance committee, I want you involved in it.
No money, forget it.
Yeah. Anybody got anything final for today? If not, thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. It's great to see you all. Looking forward to seeing you as we go down the road. Kelly, did you have anything final that you wanted to add?
I don't think so. Just be looking for the virtual link, sign up, and encourage your club members to sign up and come in and join us that day.
You betcha. And we do continually encourage you to put together articles, your clubs to give articles for the newsletter, because it really is good information for us to share about what's going on in our district. And it's really important to do that. So the deadline for that every month is the 25th of the month. You can send them to Kelly, and we would love to see your stories in that newsletter. Okay. If that's it, then we're done, and we hope to see some of you for coffee tomorrow morning. Thanks, everybody.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
See you. Take care.
Thanks, Ken.